What is up, YouTube? We are live and we are going to talk about some news today. I don't know if I'm going to let any of my subscribers jump on the stream, but we'll see. I want to try to get through a bunch of different articles and try to stay on point. So I might just keep this one solo. So without further ado, I've been looking on my phone on Breitbart and all these different news stories, and man, just too many things that I have to cover. So let's get right into it. Let's start with the okay, I'm trying to click the wrong thing here, and man, I need two screens so I can have my live stream and what I'm sharing, and I only need to spend, I have some friends that build computers. In fact, my coworker kind of has built computers. One of my good friends builds. A couple of my good friends build computers. In fact, I think three of my good friends have built computers. One of them more than the others. So I have plenty of people to get advice for how to build computers. But anyways, what are we trying to do? Let's do that. We'll hide that. All right, time for the fluff. So let's start with the fluff first. Oh, these dogs. I swear. I need to get a battery back in my auto barking thing, and I just haven't had time to go to the store to buy 9-volt batteries. And I want an AC 9-volt battery supply because they are better. I'm tired of running through 9-volt batteries. They only last a week or so in that thing. So let's go ahead and share this. Excuse me. Yeah, so there's this idea that the election could be militarized and Trump's not going to give up office, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, when Obama was in his second term, or even after his first or at the end of his first term, you didn't hear a single thing in the media about, oh, Obama's not going to let the election results in, or he's trying to control the election, or he's going to militarize um, this and militarize that. It just shows you the clear bias in the media that we have. It shows you real clear bias in the media, and now that Trump's elected, just all this crazy stuff. There's going to be, this whole idea that Trump isn't going to respect um, the election results, I think, is a little bit much. Personally, I think it's a bunch of, I think it's a crock. I think it's a crock. Let's actually go full screen here, and I don't know. Yeah, sharing the screen, it's a little bit hard to kind of see the text because I'm looking at it and it's not quite super high resolution. But at any rate, oh my gosh, what am I doing? All right, there we go. Man, my computer is chugging just a little bit to do this. New York City eyes new COVID shutdown, threatens Jewish Orthodox Jewish areas. Virus continues to mutate. Students feel trapped after county bans gatherings inside or out. I guess Ron Paul suffered a stroke or some medical thing. That's unfortunate. He's a really great guy. I really love him as a politician. He was a veteran. He was a medic. He served in Vietnam, like some other politicians, and he's kind of a libertarian. He believes in freedom, and he's not a big fan of the Fed. He's a big firearms rights supporter. So, even though I might not agree with him on everything, I think as far as American politicians goes, he's definitely okay. Hmm. How Obama secretly tried to get Ruth Bader Ginsburg to retire. Man, you definitely don't hear about that much in the news. More of Trump's former officials speaking out against him. Everyone sees a train wreck coming. Well, I don't think it's been a train wreck the 4 years that he's been in office. His big pushes were what? Closing the border. Uh, Gosh, what were Trump's big policies? He's not a big warmonger. I mean, I think we sent some troops into Syria recently, but he made peace with North Korea. He wanted to get the trade balance, back on track. It's really interesting because Trump was calling out, China and they're doing us wrong and they're not giving us a fair shake. And, we have to kind of make sure that we're doing America first. Yeah, that's really interesting, Mark. But yeah, so Trump, was talking about China 4 years ago and maybe even before then. And then go figure, these years later, all these other countries are having issues with China and they're trying to, send troops over here and militarize this sea, militarize that sea. And they got people in concentration camps and they're hiring slaves for Mulan. And, you know, the only reason that we do business with China is because they have very cheap labor, number one. And number two, excuse me, they have a lot of resources, So if an American company needs steel, and China steel is cheap and of a certain quality, we're going to buy steel from China. So you can't really. That's what capitalism does. It buys cheap products from whoever has them to sell. So, but anyways, I think Trump was ahead of the curve on China. In fact, let's take a quick look at Trump's major policies. Tax cuts, sizable income tax cuts, deregulation, increased military spending, rollback of federal health care protection, appointment of conservative judges. Yeah, okay. I'm fine with all of those things. The liberals want to just tax everyone. They have this idea that somehow taking other people's money is the way to make a better country. That is not the way that I see it, personally. I mean, he's pro-life, he believes in justice. Oh man, I don't want to have to click on every one of these. That's kind of a bummer. Immigration, healthcare, First Amendment, marijuana. He's kind of supported being pro marijuana, but he's only the president, so even though he can sign stuff into law, it really has to go through Congress, obviously, before we get there. And I have a 3D printer. It's interesting. I'm getting this ad for 3D printing. Yeah, so how is supporting life, supporting justice, supporting education, conservative judges, supporting the Constitution, supporting people's right to medicate themselves with a natural plant? Um, it hasn't been a train wreck thus far. The media would have you believe that it's a train wreck, but the thing that a lot of the left doesn't seem to realize is that when you make the economy better, everyone benefits. It's not like lowering taxes only benefits conservatives or lowering taxes, only benefits Trump supporters. Lowering taxes supports everyone who's trying to make a buck, and most people who want to tax the rich are paying a disproportionate amount of taxes themselves. So it's just so ironic to me that people say, "Oh, Trump, he's bad. He wants to, he's racist and he likes to grab women and all this crazy stuff," when he's actually making their lives better. Um, Having more meaningful trade deals means that we have more manufacturing and more jobs in America. When that big plant and all the little restaurants and all the servers and all the people working, in real estate and construction and all these other extra industries benefit from being made in America. So this idea that you're a patriot and you believe that things should be made in America and you have some sort of nationalistic pride and somehow that makes you racist or that you want to limit the border. I have some black neighbors down the street, and they have some black gardeners, and you might cares what color the gardeners are, but the point is those black gardeners are probably American citizens, and not to pick on like illegals and gardeners per se, but the point is the more people who come to this country illegally and work under the table jobs who are not paying taxes, or at least they're not paying income taxes. They might be paying sales tax and gasoline tax, and if they're paying rent, they're sort of the landlord's paying property tax. But the bottom line is everyone should be playing by the same rules. Everyone should be, I understand that America is a great country. Obviously, if it was such a train wreck, why would we have so many millions of immigrants coming here? It's because their country sucks. Their country is socialist. Their country is communist. Their country is completely corrupt. People are hanging from bridges and politicians are getting offed left and right in, Eastern Europe and South America and, Venezuela, they're eating zoo animals and cats and people have been starving. We haven't really heard a lot about Venezuela recently, and I wonder why that is. Yeah, I mean, the FBI, the whole thing with, trying to frame Trump and putting this fake dossier out that tried to get him impeached, and it was just really dirty pool. Really, really dirty pool, even for a government agency. Obama telling them, to try to spy on Trump and just just really, really awful stuff. So let's keep jumping through some Charles. So this is kind of interesting. Charles Barkley and Shaq are drawing backlash for pushing back on the outrage. Yeah, so Charles Barkley came out and recently said that, man, the fact that these tabs are organized like this is driving me crazy. So Charles Barkley came out and said that so some backlash against this Breonna Taylor. Then I know Barkley also had some backlash about um, this whole defund the police thing, right? Barkley said, "Look, we got to stop this defund the police thing. It's not the way to go." And since he's black and he's a sports star, people expect him to have this. People expect him to have this, go along to get along type mentality. And I really respect people like him, people like Kanye, who are going against the mainstream narrative that if you're black, you have to support this and you have to support that. It's like saying, I'm white, I have to support white supremacists, or I have to support racists, or I have to support conservatives. I don't have to support anybody. My beliefs are based on my life, my experiences, and the information that I get, and um, based on the stuff that I'm exposed to. I've lived in California my whole life, so I have strong feelings about illegal immigration. I see the lines at the DMV. I see, the gardeners. I see the effect of that happening, the rents and people, having 5 converted in-law units on their property. And why do you think there's no parking in LA? If every single house in LA only had one family, there'd be plenty of parking. But there's like 5 to 8 people in every house, 4 of them have cars. So every single family, which maybe has like one garage car spot, all of a sudden there's 5 cars for every house. So of course you're not going to have any parking. It's just kind of gotten out of hand. So Charles Barkley, my hat's off to Charles Barkley and really anyone who's going against the grain um, in regards to what's going on. So Barkley's saying here, I don't think this one was like George Floyd or Ahmaud Arbery and things like that. I feel sad this young lady lost her life. I think this one was the no-knock warrant is something we need to get rid of. I 100% agree. Unless you're like a really terrible, awful something, like if you're like a convicted felon and you're suspected of having firearms. I mean, I don't know, it's kind of a sticky situation. I mean, there should be due process, obviously, and just because a judge signs a no-knock warrant doesn't necessarily mean there's due process. That being said, if you knock on the door of a bunch of gangbangers and they all have automatic weapons, the cops are really putting themselves in a bad place. You know, going breaking down somebody's door into their property is really a rough way to arrest someone. It'd be a lot easier to wait till they go to the liquor store and then just send 10 cops in the liquor store and just tackle the son of a gun. So he's saying, I just feel bad that the young lady lost her life, but we do have to take into account that her boyfriend shot at the cops and shot a cop. So, like I say, even though I'm really sorry she lost her life, I just don't think we can put this in the same situation as George Floyd or Ahmaud Arbery. So, why is he getting backlash for that? That's completely accurate. See you, Mark. Thanks for coming by. Yeah, well, a lot of politicians have destroyed a lot of things with one signature. All right, let's see what else is in the news here. I'm not going to stick around too much on Drudge. Vietnam confiscates 300,000 recycled condoms for sale. Okay, rat that sniffs out landmine receives award for bravery. Well, that's a good little rat. I don't like rats, but they are intelligent. Marijuana use during pregnancy linked to psychotic-like behaviors in children. Well, that's lovely. Maybe you shouldn't use drugs when you're pregnant, probably. Gold scam targeting conservatives raised $180 million. Wow, that is a lot of money. Proud Boys rally raises concerns of more violence in Portland. Yeah, Proud Boys like to go out there and kind of fight Antifa hand to hand, and yeah, it's really that stuff gets sticky real quick, obviously. So it's not best to let the police deal with Antifa. I know, it's tempting to kind of go out there and try to uphold truth and justice and be a superhero, or as Uncle Al likes to say, Batman and the Boondocks and all that. But the bottom line is, those people are scum, and unless you have the law on your side, like law enforcement, or if you're like a recognized militia or something, it really gets a little sticky to be trying to confront Antifa. It's just not worth the trouble. All right, so let's take a look. Oh, why am I on? Oh, I'm sharing the wrong. Let me see here. Okay, so if that's the one that I'm sharing, let's go ahead and. Oh, that's funny. I see a Trump coin ad right after I went to Trump's website, I swear. COVID chaos election, Democrats' 7-step strategy to win presidency by using mail-in chaos. Oh, stupid ads. Do illegal immigrants deserve federal stimulus checks? No, they don't. Not even close. What else do we have here? Cheat by mail. Yeah, they found a bunch of ballots in the dumpster recently. Sorry, the tamales, some of those green tamales not sitting well. Gun sales surge in swing states, which I think is hilarious because every time, there's a concern about um, gun laws, more people buy guns. So that just cracks me up. New York City, Chinese consulate major spy center. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Judge orders feds to defend TikTok ban by Friday. Portland mayor warns the far-right groups to stay away. Well, that doesn't work like that. Trump supporters, I'm a single lesbian mom and none of my rights have been taken. Cuban American whose family escapes communism calls out AOC. John Legend, Chrissy Teigen considered leaving America because of Trump. Yeah, by all means. Nobody's stopping you. In fact, you probably remember there was when when Trump got elected, or before he got elected, all these stars were like, "Oh, I'm leaving to Canada and I'm leaving America if Trump gets elected." No, you're not. You're full of crap. Chicken, pollo. The lady that comes by, I believe she only has pollo and cheese, and the pollo is rojo or verde. So yeah, she comes by like Monday, Thursday, and Friday. So it's too hard to eat with the mic and all that. So it's a little classless to be eating in front of camera. So I pretend that I have class sometimes. Yeah, just chicken green tamales, I guess. But they're so freaking good. I love the tamale lady. Every time I hear her, my spirits just go up through the roof because I'm like, yes, I get a nice little brunch, some tamales. It's very, very enjoyable. So it's always nice. But yeah, all these people, oh, I'm going to leave America. I'm going to leave America. Shut up. Nobody cares. It's like it's like Kathy Griffin, and she held the fake Donald Trump severed head, and then the Secret Service came and talked to her, as well they should, and said, "Hey, maybe you can chill on the efficacies of a dead president." Yeah. Notice that you didn't see a lot of conservatives that were upset about Obama winning, holding up fake severed heads or pictures. You know, Conservatives have a lot more class. Just they're more mature adults that generally don't act like spoiled children. Um, a lot of these liberals are the result of never getting beat as a child, and I never got beat as a child. I think my mom kicked me in the ass once, and I definitely deserved it because I was kind of a little shit as a kid. I don't know if that's surprising or not, but yeah, water under the bridge. What are you gonna do? But yeah, just think about the difference between the way conservatives act to something not going their way and liberals. Conservatives are going to make views, maybe contact their politician, maybe buy some firearms, talk to some conservative friends, whereas these extreme liberals are like tweeting, you know, everything's going to end and Elizabeth Warren recently said Trump's flirting with treason. Shut up, you old hag. Get over it. Just I mean, I really think they should be pushing libel and slander charges against these people saying terrible things about the president. Fortunately, the president is somewhat immune to some of this garbage that they're saying about him, but a lot of people give Trump crap for tweeting and oh, our president's oh, excuse me, he's tweeting or he's on the golf course or he's grabbing women, that's all he does in his spare time. But the thing is, tweets are powerful. The left is using social media to their advantage. Obama used social media to get elected. So I think Trump is really he's really doing some 4D chess with respect to social media. LeBron rages. The most disrespected person on earth is the black woman. Um, okay, I guess. I don't know if you have any sort of evidence to back that up. It's more like I'm a sports player and I have a platform, so I'm just going to come out and say things like the most disrespected person on earth is a black woman. Actually, in America, the most disrespected person is me, conservative, white, single male of Caucasian descent, because I'm presumed to be racist, that my family was a former slave owner, that I don't respect minorities, I don't respect women, I don't respect whatever, right? So I would say, LeBron, you are full of crap. Now, a couple more things from people that we don't really care about. Yeah, here's Elizabeth Warren. Trump flirting with treason. And Bernie Sanders worried that Trump will refuse to leave office. Really? Really, Bernie? Go down to Venezuela and tell me how you like barbecue cat. Probably tastes terrible. De Niro, God, I hate Robert De Niro so much. I am never watching another movie with Robert De Niro in it. He has just turned out to be such an absolute piece of garbage. Um, just ridiculous. The guy loses his head every day over, oh, Trump's doing this and oh, Trump's doing that. De Niro, nobody cares. Nobody cares that you're a star. You're not that good of an actor. You were in a few decent movies. You act like an angry New Yorker in every one of your movies. It's not original. Um, De Niro's just pathetic. He's going the Kathy Griffin way, the Alyssa Milano way. All these stars are coming out against, we're turning fascist. We're turning into a fascist country. No, we're not. We're not a fascist country. Yes, there's a lot of government overreach. And yes, I'm not, or no, I'm not a fan of it. But to just come out and say, "Oh, we're going fascist," it's absolutely ridiculous. If anything, the liberals are more fascist than the conservatives because the liberals want government in everything. And a fascist government is basically the government controlling everything, kind of like a communist government. So, except theoretically in communism, everything is owned by the state. In a fascist government, the government just tells you what to do. Maybe you own it, but they're going to tell you what to do anyways, right? So, wish Inspired John was here to talk about the differences between communism, fascism, socialism, Marxism, and all that stuff, right? But yeah, De Niro is a piece of garbage, absolute garbage. Now, back to the borders. Why are we trying to control the borders? Well, maybe because across the borders, things like meth are coming. Oh, look at that good little doggy. Who's a good little drug doggy? Smelling out all those bad drugs. Yes. And he has a little toy. So the toy, dog toy is like their treat. So anytime they do something good or you kind of want the dog to calm down, you give them their little toy, their little chew toy. It's a happy little doggy. Yeah, dogs are great for sniffing out drugs. So the U.S. Customs and Border Protect. Let me go full screen here so we can get a slightly better view. U.S. Border Protection in Ohio interdicted a shipment of methamphetamine that originated in Mexico had Texas listed as its final destination. The officers found the drugs mixed with powdered drink packages. Yeah, I mean, recently, what they found some drugs in like a big piece of granite or something. Like I don't know, they blasted or drilled out the granite, put a bunch of drugs in, and then like covered up the hole in the rock. Yeah, I mean they're finding tunnel. They're always find tunnels in Mexico, right? It's not that hard to dig a tunnel, especially if you have slave or drug labor. But this is why we need to control the border. It's not just because they're taking our jobs and they're taking our money, but it's because the drugs that are coming over, the meth, the marijuana, heroin, cocaine. Excuse me, cocaine, crack. Just meth is just a plague on society. It's such a horrific drug. Wow. The Border Patrol has 1,500 canine teams taught to concealed humans, narcotics, currency, firearms, and specialized in other disciplines such as search and rescue, tracking and trailing, human remains detection, and special response unit. Nice, nice little doggos. See, I don't hate dogs. I just hate people that leave their dogs in their yard barking all day. That shit drives me crazy. Now, let's take a look and see what people think about finding these drugs. Let's poll the audience, if you will. Da-da-da, nice little doggies. Shipped to Texas via Ohio. Scenic route. Sounds like they're keeping long distance truckers in work. Evade the Texas border and use an easier point of entry. Meth is a very bad drug. People should take it upon themselves not to use it. Yeah, no kidding. Damn, that was a joke. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay, well, apparently everyone has this issue with like, oh, they found it in Ohio from Mexico on the way to Texas. So, Every airport, highway inspection stop, post office, and border crossing should have canine sniffer dogs 24/7. Yeah, not a terrible idea. I mean, you could get a robot to probably smell meth, I think. Um, anyway, so that's what's going on with that. Let's see what else we have going on Breitbart. Kane, Trump's SCOTUS nominee has life and death consequences. Well, yeah, like abortion, like gun control rights, like securing the border. So, yeah, I would say that the SCOTUS absolutely has life and death consequences. Hmm. And here's Charles Barkley. We need to stop this defund the police, defund or abolish the police crap. Yeah, you're right. And he's going to get heat for it, but fortunately, he's not a basketball player, and he's on NBA TV. Oh, excuse me. I think I got enough sleep. This guy's freaking out when the cops arrested him. Choke me, Emmer, effer, etc., etc. Democrat who introduced Breonna's Law, arrested during protests. Former sheriff's deputy pleads guilty to having sex with teenage boy. Well, that's not considered acceptable. Pope knocks nationalism, pushes multilateralism in UN speech. Well, screw the Pope. I'm sorry, countries matter. And considering the Vatican sort of exists as its own entity outside of Italy, I think that's highly ironic. Not surprising, but highly ironic. Yeah, so here we go. We have this arrest an illegal harvesting scheme. Let's see what's going on. This is kind of one of the reasons I wanted to make the video. Yeah, I'm a little bit tired. Work between work and not sleeping a lot and working on the house and um, by Thursday or Friday I get a little worn out. So it's life. That is just life. Discover the Kia Seltoa. No, I don't need any Korean cars. Thank you very much. Arrests made in illegal ballot harvesting. Texas law enforcement officials arrested four individuals Thursday for their alleged involvement in a harvesting scheme in the state's 2018 Democratic primary election. Among those apprehended and facing some of the 134 felony voter charges was the Democrat who claimed the primary race. Well, that's interesting. Are we saying that they arrested a Democrat that won a primary? Charlie Burns, Dwayne Ward, Marlena Jackson, and Jackson's husband, Shannon Brown, a Democrat who is serving as Gregg County's Precinct 4 commissioner, collectively stand accused of 134 different felony charges of election fraud and ballot tampering. If found guilty, each individual could face 6 months to 99 years in prison. Well, isn't that wonderful? Yeah, that's no joke. We need to. And this is what really kills me about the Democrats saying, oh, we need to make sure that people's votes aren't suppressed. Well, that goes both ways. So when a few Democrats, not to say that all Democrats do this, but when, Democrats that are so desperate to win decide that they're going to play funny games at the ballot box, we need to come down hard on them. Very hard. And I hope that all of these people spend a lot of time in prison because we need to make an example out of them. 100%. 100%. Yeah, Republicans should fight very hard when it comes to statewide mail in voting. Democrats are clamoring for it, the president once tweeted. Tremendous potential for voter fraud and for whatever reason doesn't work out well for Republicans. Go figure. Go figure. Now, where was that stuff about the ballots found in the garbage? I don't know. I'll have to find it. More illegals have landed in the UK in September than all of 2019. Isn't that insane? Why? Who's trying to destroy Britain? Someone is trying to destroy Britain. So what they're doing in Britain is these migrants are taking off from, the Mediterranean or whatever, and they're on these boats and they're on these, excuse me, they're on these crappy little boats, and then they basically get into the international waters of a country. And it's so bad that before they even launch, they're basically radioing the other country, oh, we have a boat of emergency people and they need help and all this other garbage. So they send them out to the middle of the ocean, hope they don't drown, because the boats are always overloaded. And then miraculously, they get picked up by England or France, and France, whatever country they get closer to, like maybe from Morocco to France or something. And I mean, how can you have more illegals in 1 month than in the entire year of 2019? That is not accidental. That is not a bunch of illegals, a bunch of third world migrants, saving up all their pennies and they all buy a boat together. No, that is an organized effort by those trying to undermine Britain. They're trying to undermine British values, and it's really sickening. Banning knives, and then we have no-go zones. This idea of a no-go zone, I mean, certainly there's cities that have rough neighborhoods, but the idea that the migrants all live in this area and basically force the cops to not go in there, I mean, that's what Chaz was, right? In Seattle, Chaz was a no-go area. So Britain and Europe need to get their shit together and need to control their borders, need to stop accepting these migrants just because they're on a boat. I mean, hey, you want to come land in Britain? Guess what? We're going to find out where the majority of you are from. And if use some satellite imagery, they didn't just show up out of nowhere. They were on a boat. And if you have a little bit of satellite imagery, you can figure out where the boat came from and send them back to that country. Um, Send them back to the country that they came from. And if they're still doing this crap, let it be known. Do a couple news stories on it. Like Nigel Farage has been out there with news crews, basically seeing these migrants just sort of accidentally landing in British waters. And it's absolute garbage. It's absolute garbage. And it just makes me sick that they're using the fact that Western countries aren't in shambles and we actually have the resources to rescue people from sea. It's just completely ridiculous. It really sickens me that the people don't sicken me, but the fact that they just expect another country to solve their problems. Solve your own problems. Fix your own country. Stop just screwing up your country and then coming to my country and not integrating, not learning the language, not becoming part of the culture. And then when people, raping women, raping small children, assaulting people with knives and machetes. I mean, they're just terrible human beings, a lot of them, truly. Like this machete attack in France. You think that was some, person that was born in France that was on their way to the library that all of a sudden decided they wanted to attack someone? No, that was a piece of garbage migrant who did that. Let's take a quick look here. Da-da, details of the incident. Attempted assassination in connection with a terrorist enterprise and a criminal terrorist organization. They were chased by a man with machete. We all know what type of people like using machete. Migrants love machetes. You're, oh, Charlie Hebdo has angered many Muslims around the world. Okay, so they were probably Muslims attacking the news company because the news company likes to publish pictures of Muhammad. Well, to be honest, if you're working for that news company, you should probably be mindful that at any given moment, a random Muslim might come down the street and attack you with a machete. But I guarantee you this, if those newspaper officials would have had a firearm on them, that machete attack would have ended a lot differently. You notice people aren't attacking people with machetes in Arizona, in Nevada, in Montana, in Idaho, in Texas, in Atlanta, in Georgia, places where people can lawfully carry firearms. You don't see a lot of machete attacks. Funny how that works. France demands Brussels force every EU nation to take third world migrants. Yeah, good luck with that. Here we go. Virginia Governor Northam tests positive for Chinese coronavirus. They're not calling it COVID. Good for them. Quarantine. This is another example of how much migrants appreciate what they're given. Quarantine migrants grow angry, set fire to Italian hotel. Well, isn't that nice of them? They put them up in a hotel, literally a hotel, not even a vagrant camp. They've set fire to the hotel they're in. Wasn't that nice? I mean, what better way? Two Tunisians staying at the hotel threw themselves out of the window to escape. Due to the fires, the hotel is no longer usable. Well, congratulations, you just ruined an entire housing complex for all of your migrant friends. Wasn't that a wonderful idea? Congratulations, you morons. Here we have another thing. Migrants revolt against aboard Italian coronavirus quarantine ship. Well, maybe if they threw him overboard, they wouldn't be revolting so hard. Spanish NGO Open Arms was stuck off the coast of Sicily for several days and saw over 100 migrants throw themselves overboard to get to Italy and be picked up by the Italian Coast Guard. Just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. German NGO CI, meanwhile, gave up attempting to dock in Italy this week and announced they would be heading to the French city of Marseille instead. Yet these non-government organizations are basically instrumental in getting all these migrants to countries that really don't need them. I went to Italy last year. In fact, it was almost exactly a year ago. And one thing I found really interesting in Naples or Napoli was just all the black migrants and just like bums, just kind of standing around selling crap. It was very strange. I'm like, where are all these African migrants coming from? And then I realized Italy is taking on a lot of these migrants, and then they just end up in the city wandering around, no job, they don't speak the language, they don't have any skills. Oh, the acid attacks. Yeah. I mean, when you import trash and you allow trash into your country, you get trash, and trash tends to cause a lot of problems. So it's no wonder that Trump wants to secure the border because we want to prevent all this trash from ruining our country. And thank God for that. Yeah, Italy's gorgeous, but it's going to turn into a shithole if they keep letting these migrants just float onto the beach. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, organized and coordinated in every country. We're looking at some comments here. So-called migrants aren't migrants at all. They're Muslim stealth demographic jihadists masquerading as so-called migrants. They're invading and infiltrating Europe en masse to wage a stealth demographic jihad preemptively against the non-Muslim unbeliever citizens without the provocation and without provocation in the cause of Allah. Anyways, yeah, they still got their mobile phones, right? Yeah, maybe moratorium on immigration. No shit. I can't travel. Why can they? Exactly. It shows they are not genuine refugees, but invading savages biting the hand that feeds them. They sent fire to their camp on Lesbos, so that is their preferred method of protest. How long before they burn down hotels in UK because something doesn't suit them? Exactly. Round them up, Internment, then deport them ASAP. They are not migrants, but Muslim invaders ordered to create chaos in Europe. Where do economic migrants get the money to pay people, smugglers, and mobile phones? This is an organized, funded conspiracy to cause panic and fear. A murdered policeman in London, a stabbing attack in Paris in the last 12 hours. Looks like Muslim terror operation. Yeah, exactly. So we cannot, I mean, they're just begging. These Muslims are begging for the Crusades 2.0. And if they try hard enough, they're going to get it, you know. I don't generally have anything against someone who's peacefully practicing your religion, but if you want to move to a country or a state or a city and you have issue with the way that that city or country or state, their culture, their language, their way of life, the way that they do things. If your religion tells you that everyone else is wrong and that you have to spend your entire life trying to change everyone, that's a problem. And that's a problem for you, but that's not a problem for me, except when you make it a problem for me. So, anyways, I think we've had enough of the anti Muslim, anti Democrats, anti freedom rant for now. But I would like to thank Uncle Al for joining along in this rant. Hopefully, I don't lose any subscribers over this, but I'm not sure I have that many Muslim subscribers. And if I do, and you're a peacefully practicing Muslim that appreciates the culture of the country that you live in, wonderful. But if you want to try to change everything in the world to be Sharia law, then we have a problem. So until next time, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about current news articles. Let me know what you think about the Trump presidency. Let me know what you think about Antifa, BLM, gun rights, migrants, climate change, anything. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button, and as always, keep prepping. We'll see you next time, YouTube.